All right. Good morning, everybody. Excited to see everybody here. Excited for our second annual EEConference or EEConf spring conference. We're really excited to probably make this a regular thing in our schedule each year, along with the fall in-person conference. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I try not to take up too much of your time because I know you're excited to hear from Tom about what's happening in ExpressionEngine and then all the rest of the speakers today. So first of all, just go through some housekeeping items. As always, one of the most important things we always want to consider with our online conferences is our code of conduct. Essentially it comes down to don't be a jerk, right? One thing I love about ExpressionEngine, and I say this over and over, is the community. And just as we see the jokes here on the side, the community is just great. It's one of a kind. It's been around for many, many years. And you guys that I see in Slack all the time that are commenting in the forums or wherever it is, it just mean the world to us as the ExpressionEngine team. And, of course, as me as ExpressionEngine team and EEConference committee member, I think we have one of the best communities in the tech industry. So if you're new to the community, though, we just want to make sure everyone knows that we like to treat each other with respect and kindness, not use this opportunity for arguments or anything like that. So, all right. We also have a Slack channel. You can go to the EECMS Slack and go to the EEConference section. So if there's any issues or you have any comments you'd like to make or just to chat outside of the event, you can always head there, and then we post stuff throughout the year as well. We definitely want you to share your audio and video. So when it's time for Q&A, whether the speaker asks for Q&A during the presentation or at the end of the presentation, there's definitely the Q&A section you can use, but we always prefer to see faces, especially in this virtual world we live in now, and hear your voices. So go ahead and share audio and video. No one really cares, that your cat's climbing over your computer or you've got a mess in the background. We want to see your face. We want to hear your voice. We want to have fun. So if you do choose to use the Q&A feature, you can click on the Q&A. Please try to keep Q&A outside of the chat. Sorry guys, just had to check something real fast. Please keep Q&A outside of the chat. It just gets lost when you just type it in the chat there, and the speaker is going on and other people are chatting. Oh, that was a great comment. Oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. If you post a question for the speaker in there, a lot of times it gets lost. So go ahead and put those in the QA, and then we can properly manage that when the time comes. We definitely want to thank the EEConference committee. I've had the pleasure of working with these ladies and gentlemen for many years now, all the way back to Denver. Was the first time I think that we as a community put on the conference. Exciting times back then, and as we progressed, and now doing virtual events as well as the in-person conference. When you see these guys in Slack, just be sure to tell them thank you for all they do. This is an effort throughout the year. I hope you guys have noticed we've got a new website up and running, and you can thank our newest EEConference committee member, Julie Field, for that. And that's still a work in progress. We've still got some more stuff coming there. But one thing you'll notice is that EEConference is no longer just a one-time event. We want to be able to bring the community together throughout the entire year. So we have, of course, our two main events are going to be the spring virtual conference. And then this year we're having the fall summit. And I know there's some confusion on that. The Fall Summit, we say that because the Fall Summit is going to be a lot more personal. So there are a limited number of tickets. We only have 50 tickets available for attendees. So be sure to register and get your tickets as soon as possible so you don't miss out. But that's going to be more of a summit type conversation that we have there. So it's going to be smaller groups. We're going to have maybe a speaker or two give larger presentations, but then a lot of what we're going to spend our time in is diving in to tough questions and kind of roundtable with everybody in the room and sharing each other's experiences and how we can help each other and grow together with some moderated conversations there. So it's going to be a lot more intimate. That's why we have the hotel included. If you haven't noticed that, you get your ticket includes 2 nights of hotel, all your meals during the conference, and of course the conference itself. So definitely get your tickets. But again, these committee members work throughout the year to make all these events happen. And along with the virtual meetups, I hope you guys have enjoyed those virtual meetups every other month, getting a chance to come together as a community and hear speakers. And the only way that we can do that, of course, is with our sponsors. I cannot thank these sponsors enough. Many of these sponsors have been with us through the years. They've been in the community for a long time. Our gold sponsors, Cartthrob and Hop Studios, just do a fantastic job of rolling out some marquee add-ons for ExpressionEngine, helping in Slack, providing support, doing all they can for the community. Please at least send them an email, mention them in Twitter, something to give them some love. Purchase their add-ons if you can use them, but definitely give them some love for all that they do to support the community. Our awesome silver sponsors. So we've got Greenline Creative and Triple Nerd Score. Triple Nerd Score, of course, is Doug. He's going to be speaking today. So we're excited to have them as our silver sponsors and again, supporting the community. Our bronze sponsors, W3Care and IC360, another speaker today. Excited to have them with us as well. And then Friends of EE, we've got Creative Arc with Paul and his amazing jokes. But no, we thank Paul and his team for the support and all that they do as well. Again, if you're interested in sponsoring, you can either become a sponsor, and that sponsor goes throughout the year. So you only pay one sponsorship fee, and you're included in marketing through all of our events throughout the year, as well as email, social media blast, all that kind of stuff. So sponsorship's definitely a good deal. It's not just for the event itself at one time. And then also, if you're interested, you can also go to EEConference/donate, and there's ways to donate to us there. And we always appreciate your support. Many of you guys donate at the meetups, all that, and that's fantastic. And again, we just cannot do this without you. I'd love to say this is all free and it doesn't cost anything, but especially going to Philly again this year, there's a lot of expenses in making this happen, and we want to continue to bring the community together and continue to do great things for everyone. So last but not least, Philadelphia. Mentioned this several times recently, but all systems are still go for in-person event in Philadelphia at the Convene Commerce Square. As I said, only 50 tickets are available. There's still a few early bird tickets right now. I think that saves you $150 or so. Your ticket does include 2 nights of hotel, all your food while you're at the conference, and then breakfast and lunch. Let me be clear there, breakfast and lunch during the conference. And then, of course, the conference itself. It's going to be a great time of coming together, sharing, growing together, collaborate, inspire, and learn, coming in October of 2022. And you can go to our website and see more information about that and go register, purchase your tickets. If you have any questions about that, you can always ping us in Slack, email us through the website, whatever works for you. But we are excited about coming back together and seeing everyone's lovely face. So that is all I've got. Are you guys excited for the day? Excited for the conference? First up, so everything is going to be in the sessions today. Everything, we're not going to use the stage or anywhere else, so you can just hang out here. And this session will be for this talk and Tom and the ExpressionEngine Team updates. And then we'll hop out of here, and then whenever it's time, the next session will appear in the session, so you can go to the event and chat. We did try to leave one feedback item that we got a lot was the back-to-back all day kind of stuff. So we are trying to leave a little bit more room in between sessions. So you should have plenty of time after a session to get up, check your email, go let out the dog, make a sandwich, make another cup of coffee, whatever you want to do, and then come back and join us. So hopefully that works out. Again, feedback is super important. You can always let us know when you have feedback. But without further ado, we will transition into the next talk here with Tom. and I'm going to let him in. I'm just going to pause one moment so that I can check some messages and make sure that everything is good to go. All right, we are good. So I'm going to invite Tom here on the screen. Tom, you are live.
Good morning.
That's here at EEConf, spring 2022. How are you this morning, sir?
I am, I'm doing all right. Speaking of which, before we get going, this is a curveball for Andy. I think like many people, I woke up heartbroken again this morning. There's been a lot of crazy events this year, and I think it's only appropriate to just kind of start with a moment of silence this morning. All right. Yeah. So we'll transition here. I always like this event. I know last year, I believe, was the first one where we did the spring conference, but I like it because it's a little bit of a higher level of intimacy. Why can't I think of that word? Intimacy. I think people know the word I'm looking for. But it also allows an opportunity for a higher level of transparency. So we're going to do a similar format to what we did last year. There was good feedback on that, where we just kind of have a dialogue between Andy and I. And similarly, if people have questions while we're speaking, feel free to throw them out there, and we'll do the best we can to loop them in. Before we jump into kind of the Q&A series, if you will, I kind of want to give a little bit of a brief community update since the last, I guess, a year ago here. In short, when we first took over the helm with ExpressionEngine, Slack had been closed for a while. It was below 2,000 members. Since the last conference in the fall, even we've broken the 7,000 member mark in Slack. So that's been encouraging. That's been awesome to see. On the GitHub repo, we've seen a pretty significant uptick in participation there. There's been some large updates from community members. We started calling that out in our change logs, as well as the bi-monthly updates that we're shooting out there. There's also pretty significant dev effort going on from the community right now about particularly concerning the shared form view, which is how control panel views are rendered in ExpressionEngine, to kind of modernize that, if you will, and bring it to a much more object-oriented approach to build out. So that's some high-level items we're seeing. We are seeing growth in the double digits range. We are looking to bring growth of the platform up to 3 digits or over 100% year over year. That is what we're guiding towards as a whole. So I think that's been very exciting to see as well. And that's not just the growth that we're seeing like right now or this year, if you will. It's something that we've been able to track for about 18 months roughly, where we can look at 12-month snapshots and look at growth rates. So that's very cool to see. Andy, from there, any community updates you want to throw out there, or should we just jump right into Q&A?
No, I mean, just kind of echo your thoughts as well. It's been awesome to see the community grow. Of course, my part is being on the EE conference team and the EE core team. It's just been really great to see the feedback that I've gotten and to see people excited about ExpressionEngine, to see people excited about the upcoming conferences, seeing each other in person again, just that bond that we share amongst everybody, and seeing that continue to grow. It's been really awesome to be on both sides of that now. I've been on the e-conference team for a while, and we're always trying to motivate, and we hear stuff, but to kind of be on the receiving end of that as the product side has been really rewarding and such a blessing to see everyone coming together and supporting the product. Even when people are posting complaints, right, in Slack or bugs, that's good. That's good conversation. And it's good to see people wanting the product to grow. You guys could decide just to leave. And instead, you guys are choosing to stick with ExpressionEngine and help make the product better. And I just think that goes to show what kind of product it is and the community behind it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about where everything's going. So.
On that front too, I shared with the team, but I think in the past week, I had 5 people reach out to me one-on-one just to say how happy they were with where ExpressionEngine is, where it's heading, and things like that. So, for us, that means a lot. We kind of, slave away, if you will, in some regards, behind closed doors sometimes in a public forum, that type of thing. We operate very differently than a lot of companies in the sense that we will literally argue through positions and points of decisions, things like that as a team to ultimately conclude the right thing. And that's laborious on a lot of fronts. People you enjoy working with, but are also willing to say, no, hang on. Like, I don't think this is best, and to push back. So, we always appreciate the encouragement. Thank you.
Awesome. So, as Tom said, we know that everybody doesn't like just hearing Tom talk all the time. So no, we're going to do kind of that same format we did last time. Me and him kind of have just a conversation about where ExpressionEngine is, where the product is, where the brand is, things that we were working on. So of course, if you don't know, my role at ExpressionEngine is kind of operations, project management, kind of keeping everything moving along, pushing things, also do some of the community engagement, help Tom with the product itself. So a lot of different hats I wear. Likewise, Tom, if you don't know Tom, he's the owner of PacketTide, and PacketTide's the team behind ExpressionEngine. And he helps lead the vision for the product and the brand, as well as recently definitely diving into some code himself and merging PRs and reviews and that kind of stuff. And then also definitely in the community, engaging everyone here. So I guess, first of all, we gave kind of a community update, but an update on the product itself. At the last conference, one of the big things, so speaking of things that we've been doing since the last conference in the fall, one of the things that we've been doing or said that we were going to do was more frequent releases. So talking to the operations guy, that's kind of something that I wanted to help improve and work on as well. There's a big time lapse there between 6.0 and 6.1. And we kind of mentioned to the community, that was a lot of that had to do with Pro and us trying to make sure Pro is on point and fixing a lot of bugs, that just unexpected stuff that happened there. But we were trying to make a commitment in the future to do more frequent releases, get bugs fixed, get features out. So Tom, I would just ask you, kind of an update on that. How do you think we've been doing as far as releases go? What have we released? What's kind of the high level overview since the last conference?
Yep, absolutely. As Andy mentioned, the delay between 6 and 6.1, along with Pro and 6.1, if you will, that was a pretty big delay, and that's not something we were happy with either. So the last conference, we did say we're looking to increase the cadence of releases a lot. Since the last conference, we've done 8 releases of Pro, 20 releases of EE6.x, and 1 of 5.x. So in total, we've done 29 releases since the fall. Most recently, we shipped conditional fields. We also did 5 new field types, entry cloning, multi-factor authentication, and then Pro is just right after the conference last year. In addition to that, we've also had a lot of updates, if you will, on the storefront. And some of those are pretty big undertakings. We actually worked with Stripe directly to transition how we could pay out international vendors and things along those lines. So that's about a bit of what we've been up to. Kind of the mantra that we've embraced recently is smaller scopes, like smaller scopes ship more frequently. So I know I've been pretty happy with that. I hope the community has been as well. It's been awesome to be able to get things out on a very regular basis. 6.1 was a huge release. I think there was over 115 issues closed, as well as feature additions and things like that as well. So pretty happy with that release too.
Yeah, we've definitely been busy. Comment in the chat there too. How do you think we've been doing? Or maybe I shouldn't ask that. Comment in the chat. Do you like the release cycle that we've been on? How's everything going as far as that goes? Features coming out. if that's felt better than the past, and what you guys think of everything. We love to hear your feedback. Again, good, bad, criticism, constructive criticism, hopefully. But that's the only way we make the product better. So definitely please let us know your thoughts. So one thing, a lot of our effort has been, of course, on ExpressionEngine 6, moving that forward with Pro, with the updates to 6 that we released earlier this year. But one thing that happened since last conference is ExpressionEngine 5. So we sunsetted ExpressionEngine 5, right?
Correct. Yeah. So at this stage, just to kind of speak to version 5 real quick here, there's no updates to version 5 going forward. If we get a security issue, it's not going to be fixed. Part of the reason we say this is we really encourage people to update to version 6 at this point. Version 5 is 100% end of life. So, we really do recommend upgrading to 6. It is a very easy upgrade, or 7 that's coming out soon. So, please do upgrade. 5 is sunset.
Yes. Yeah. I can tell you that there's still a lot of people on ExpressionEngine 6. I know sometimes, or on 2. Sorry.
Yep.
I know Robin with support issues sometimes, and she brings up stuff, and then it's like, and they're on 2. So there's definitely Robin just posted probably time to start thinking about updating those 2X sites. We have made it really easy. We talked about that, I think, at the last conference that was where we demonstrated that some. Maybe it was the conference before this, but you can but you can manually update from version 2 all the way to 6 pretty easily. Of course, third-party add-ons are always up in the air. They're recording, but the core itself, and as long as you have compatible updated add-ons, you can just drop EE6 files in there and then run the updater, and it updates all the way. You can even do it through the CLI, which is really nice and extremely fast. Robin mentioned also she has support issues for 1.x. That's pretty amazing, actually. But we know they are there. I do. If you're upgrading from 1.x, I encourage you to reach out to one of our partners because that could take some effort there. But I think it'd be pretty easy. Oh, Oliver, don't say that. His own site's on EE2. EE2 was a great release, lasted a long time, but it's sunsetted along with every other version except for 6 right now. So the only way you're going to get active updates, the only way you're going to be secure, the only way you're going to get all the newest stuff is to be on ExpressionEngine 6. So speaking of the newest stuff, Tom, why don't you talk about a little bit of some of the stuff we're working on now and where we're headed?
Yeah, absolutely. So for starters, we just finished a rather large performance scope. So the performance scope coming out of it, we're seeing significantly decreased database queries per page load. Page load times are going down a good bit. When you do performance, it's really spread throughout a lot of different areas, if you will, in the core. So it's hard to look at it and say, hey, the average page load is this, when maybe relationship performance changes a little bit, fluid field changes a lot, files and grids, for instance, that's one that we increased significantly. So we're seeing some aspects that we worked on being twice as fast as they were prior to the performance scope, if you will. There's others that are 5 to 15 or even 30% performance increases. I know it sounds funny. I mentioned this to partners in the call too. We love performance, and it goes beyond just faster page loads and things like that. We recognize that with how many sites are running ExpressionEngine, it does decrease the carbon footprint of ExpressionEngine as well. So that is something we're excited about. This performance scope will be released as part of ExpressionEngine version 7.
So 7, you said the magic word there. We'll get to that in a second, though.
Yep.
So performance, I think performance update, we're going to also release for 6 as well. Is that correct?
That is correct. It'll probably be after this 7.0 release, likely as a 6.4 release, something along those lines. So, I guess before we move on, what else have we been working on? I think that was the original question you asked. We've been in full-blown ExpressionEngine 7 development mode. In addition to that, we're also working through store updates as well as license validation and what that's going to look like with 7 rolling out. But it's safe to say that ExpressionEngine 7 is in full-blown development. We're pretty heads down on that right now as a whole.
Awesome. So with our focus on 7 now, of course, one of the questions, and I think this came up in the community as well, but 6 as an LTS release, nothing's changing with that as right. I mean, 6 is still LTS.
Yep.
And 7 is not going to be LTS, right?
That's correct. Yes. So 6 is LTS. We will continue to support that through the end of the LTS cycle as a whole, if you will.
All right. And you can go. Of course, my mouse isn't working right now, but that's just great. Oh, there it goes. I've got the link here for everyone too, if you're not familiar with that. But we do have the ExpressionEngine version support on our website that you can go to, and you guys can see that version 6 is going to continue to receive bug fixes through the end of 2025, and then security fixes until 2026. So overall, though, with ExpressionEngine LTS moving into 7, which will not be LTS, what is 6 going to look like from this point, or once? I guess we're gonna backport these performance releases into 6.4, but then after that release, what is it going to look like for ExpressionEngine 6?
Yeah, that's a great question. We'll probably backport. We're not 100% decided, but we'll probably backport the store in the control panel to V6. But beyond that, really all new dev is going to be in 7, and then ultimately 8 when that rolls out as well. 6 is really going to enter a maintenance mode, so we're going to keep it solid, performing well. However, after these additional 2 items I mentioned, let's say, again, the add-on store and control panel is a little bit on the fence there for 6, but after that, it's really going to be new development is focused on 7, and then ultimately 8 when that rolls out as well. Quick note on the 8 front, the plan is that 8 would be another LTS release, and that we'd have a 1-year overlap at least between 6 and 8. So organizations that want to jump from LTS to LTS that have the ability to do that. So, but yeah, no, 6 is basically going to enter maintenance mode. So there's a lot of really cool stuff we're looking to push out in 7 and 8 as well. So, on that note too, we're very big on simplistic upgrades. I think I showed us from going back and saying, hey, let's make a straight shot from 2 to 6 even, right? So staying up to date shouldn't be a undertaking to the level it has been in the past as a whole. So we're excited about that.
Awesome. All right, so we did ask the Slack community a couple days ago for stuff they wanted to hear about. And I see we got some questions coming in, so we will get to your questions. Blair, I see your question, and I think you asked that the other day, so we'll get to that in a minute as well. One thing everybody wants to know, though, and I think somebody just asked it in Q&A as well. Eric asked, any breaking changes from 6 to 7? So Steven asked, what are we breaking? So with version 7, it's a major update or a major version. That means they're breaking changes. That means we're breaking something. We always love to get rid of technical debt and other items. So what are we breaking in version 7, Tom?
Yep. So the big 2 things we're breaking right off the bat are the forum module and simple commerce. So I say breaking, really, they're going to be removed from the core completely. They will be available as first-party downloadable add-ons for free. When we look at it, Andy mentioned the technical debt word. Those 2 specifically, they're older. There is some security concerns that we've run into with the forum module. It is in a good spot, don't get me wrong, but we do feel it's appropriate to take it out and say, hey, we don't need to keep shipping this. We're not sunsetting that or anything, though. That will be available for download. And same with Simple Commerce. To be completely frank, I think the state that Simple Commerce is in, we have some serious questions about how often it's even used at this point. And if it's the best solution that there is for that type of approach. I know even we in the past have never looked to use it. We've looked at things like charge, store, things along those lines when we ran into commerce. So That one is another one we're pulling out. To be honest, I don't think we're going to put a ton of dev effort into Simple Commerce. If we were going to go down that path, we'd probably look at other options as a whole. So
awesome. So breaking changes, really just cleaning up, getting some of those items out of there that have been around for quite a long time. But talking about new stuff, Brian asked about Twig support, something that comes up at several conferences now. We've kind of flirted that out there since we took over ExpressionEngine. Any update as far as Twig support in the core?
Yep, great question. So Twig support, I'd say there's a slight chance that's going to be in the 7.0 release. I think it's much more likely to be 7.1. It'll be, we kind of couple Twig and GraphQL together. From saying that too, I've mentioned a bunch of times that from our perspective, how we do Twig and GraphQL is really just as important as actually doing them. So we're pretty excited with the solution that we're moving forward with. And again, I'd say it's slight chance it's going to make it into EE 7.0, if you will. Much more likely to be a 7.1 release. So that is something we're excited for.
Awesome. Yes. And I see everybody GraphQL. What? Wait. Whoa. Huh? So again, we want to make sure that when we release something, I mean, we can slap stuff in left and right in the core, and kind of duct tape stuff together in there. But we always want to make sure that when we release stuff, that it's the right way of doing it. So that's why we've kind of been waiting on that and waiting for the right time and also the right method. And I can just say that I'm really excited about the way that we're approaching this and where it's going to go. And there's more to come with 7 in the future. So, okay. So transitioning from in product to kind of the brand and bigger picture items, there were some questions about add-on licensing. So add-on validation for the add-on developers. We've tried to make an effort to make ExpressionEngine.com the central place for add-ons for ExpressionEngine, so that you can come one place and find all those. And one thing with that is add-on validation, license validation. Add-on developers have been kind of coming up with their own bespoke, homegrown, ways of doing that for a few years now. But we want to make that really easy for add-on developers so that they can, let's be honest, so that they can get a return on their investment of time. Being an add-on developer, supporting your add-on is not, a small endeavor. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of work, and I hope people appreciate that. And they should be compensated for that time. So we want to make that super easy for people to get into add-on development for ExpressionEngine and also be able to profit from that ecosystem and grow their add-on. So license validation, what this is, if you're not familiar with what we're talking about, is instead of an add-on developer having to come up with their own solution, running their own servers, running whatever that is, all the license validation would happen through ExpressionEngine.com and the core. So Tom, do you want to give a little bit of updates on where we're at with that and what the future is going to look like for?
I think Andy froze or I froze. Can people still hear me? Okay. I see somebody say yes. All right. Robin says no. That's funny. Okay. So I'll answer Andy's question and hopefully he's back online here. So when we look at add-ons, yes, definitely rolling out a license validation system. It is already rolled out by and large. Oh, Andy's back. Sweet. We're going to hold a meeting with add-on developers in June, and we're going to talk about what our plans are, get feedback. Is there something we're missing? Do we have a blind spot? But similarly, kind of lay out or roll out, if you will, that hey, here's the options of what could be done in license validation and the options that add-on developers have to select. When we roll this out, we're going to do it in conjunction with 7 is the idea, and at that point in time, there is going to be a kind kind of a need for people to go and tie licenses to sites and then add-ons to licenses, if that makes sense. So that's the plan on that front. The license validation will pull into effect from 6.0.0 all the way through 7 at that point when we roll it out. So it will be retroactive back to 6.0.0, if you will.
Right. So can you guys hear me now? Everything okay?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, so it'll be a lot like, or will be the same system kind of that we're using for ExpressionEngine Pro, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So if you've purchased Pro, or if you've gone through that process or seen that process in the docs, essentially now in ExpressionEngine.com in your account, you can set up a site and then you attach licenses to that site. So it'll make it really easy to handle your licenses per site and all your different add-ons from different vendors all in one place. Very much looking forward to that, and very much looking forward to helping the add-on developers again to grow and bring more add-on developers on board. Go ahead.
Yeah, quick note on this front, the license validation, if you will, and doing the site license, things like that. This is really us learning from kind of missteps of the EE Harbor, if you will. I say missteps, it's just looking at it and saying, you know what, there's an easier way for the community at large to manage add-ons and sites and that type of thing. So we do look at this as the next step in that direction. We're excited for it.
Awesome. So talking about making it easier, one thing that people would like and have asked for is buying add-ons in the control panel. So Blair mentioned that. I guess Litzinger was the one that mentioned that the other day. So obviously it's a topic that people are interested in. When are we planning to kind of have that in-app store in the control panel where people can easily purchase an add-on, install it, all that kind of fun stuff?
Yep, great question. We do have a proof of concept that is already done. I say proof of concept because it's not polished enough for release at this point. It's really proof of concept. Hey, mechanically, if you will, programmatically, the pieces work. It's all together. So it will be in V7, not 7.0. It's one of the items that we're going to look to release sooner in the 7 life cycle, if you will. At that point in time, we'll also probably backport it to 6, most likely 6.5 is my gut reaction. And 6.4 will likely be the performance scope. So
awesome. So again, still in the works, still something we want to get out there. Okay, so Josh, going back to the LTS, and Karen actually just posted a link in the or a question in the Q&A kind of related to LTS, because I think we've already addressed Josh's question there, because Josh asked about the E6 LTS blog post that the E7 will not be LTS, and then I think our plan is for version 8 to be LTS, correct, Tom?
As of right now, yep.
So, yeah. And again, you guys will be able to, that version support page will become a lot more crucial in that manner as we have overlapping LTS, because we want a year of overlapping. Is that correct, Tom? Yep. So a year of overlapping on the LTS versions. And Josh asked, what can we expect in terms of support and releases for version 6? And I think we've already kind of addressed that. Our plan basically is to move to 7, and all new features are going to be in 7. Is that right? I mean, anything else you want to say on that matter?
That is correct. Yep. So 6 is really going to enter a maintenance mode. So, we're talking about backporting a few, crucial items that we're looking at performance wise. We're looking at the store, that type of thing. A lot of the new technology, literally, that we're pushing out in 7 and 8 will not be backported. So, we would recommend that if you're looking to harness a lot of that technology, a lot of the modern technology, we've already mentioned Twig and GraphQL, for instance. There is more than that coming. We would encourage people to stay up to date with 7 and version 8. Looping over to I think it was Karen's question. You said,
yeah, about the so she asked a little background behind the approach of alternating between LTS and non-LTS.
Yep, great question. So a little background there. LTS, personally, I first ran into it in the Linux world. where, for instance, Ubuntu every April would have a .4 release. So it was, it's kind of like the last 2 digits of the year, .4. So it's 18.4. And they had a .10 release as well. The .4 was always their LTS. And then the .10 was a shorter term cycle, if you will. The idea behind that is that the .4 in this case, or the LTS release, I'm going to stop referring to it as the .4, sorry. The LTS release is a stable platform that people can depend upon for a long time. So basically with 6.x, it's stable. Development will end, if you will. So some of the technology in 6 will, kind of not stay up to date and stay current. If you want to do that, you should jump to version 7. At which point in time thereafter, version 8 would come out, move the technology forward again as well. But then 8 would enter that maintenance mode. So basically, it's an opportunity for organizations, if you will, who want to just stay on a really stable platform for a long time. Honestly, the organizations that come to mind are the ones that have like hundreds of ExpressionEngine sites. They might make a pretty significant development investment just to bring them up to version 6, and then to say, okay, we don't want to make that same dev investment, even though I say that, but we're lowering that bar a lot, if you will, to keep up to date. To get to 7, they could say, okay, we're going to wait and we're just going to jump to 8 as soon as that comes out. So it allows organizations to have a different cadence if they want to do that, and have a long lifespan on a given product line. Going back, remembering Josh's question from Slack as well. I think you asked along the lines of what can you expect, maybe not just from the LTS, but from version 7. So version 7, we're looking to have fall into the same sort of cadence we've seen in the past, where when version 8 comes out, in this case, version 7 is going to switch to a security fixes only for roughly a year, and then it's going to be sunset. And at that point in time, version 8 would be taking over, if you will. So,
yep. And I didn't quite catch it. Did we say the arrival time for 7? I saw Steven just ask that in the Q&A. So
I don't believe so. We are on track and aiming for early summer, so early this summer, so pretty soon, actually.
Yep.
That's a good question. And similarly, we will have a EE7 specific event as well. We're going to talk more in depth about ExpressionEngine version 7. So,
sure. I do want to wrap up here in the next few minutes.
Okay.
But Blair asked, will version 7 require PHP 8+? I don't think it's going to require 8+, right? But we do have it. We're kind of raising the bar there on what version it will require.
That's correct. I feel like one of the EE core team members could probably correct me, but I believe we're raising the bar from 5.6 to 7.2 as the minimum. Obviously, we'll support 8 and 8.1 as well.
Yeah, I think 7.2 is correct.
Okay. You already just said most likely 7.4.
Yeah. Oh, great. Now we're gonna start the debate on the internal team again about that question. So, all right, a few more questions. Mainly, it looks like about other updates, things that we have mentioned in the past, coming from the Slack questions there. One of them was the field groups in Fluid. So we had mentioned that, being able to have field groups in Fluid, which of course allows for better flexibility. Where are you planning? Where do you think we're going to get that into? I think it's going to be version 7, right?
Yep.
Any thoughts on when that might come into 7?
Yeah, that's a great question. So development is wrapped up. We're really at the phase where it's going to enter testing mode. So in-depth testing, if you will, make sure we're not breaking all of the things. So this is another one of the items we're not 100% sure if it's going to be in the 7.0.0 release, or it could be shortly thereafter. But since development is, the core development of it is completed, it should be, either 7.0 or very shortly thereafter.
And then another item, which has been a lot of talk. I don't think we've really talked about any updates for it necessarily. It's one of those items that we would love to be able to do more work on. Of course, the reality in life is you can only work on so many things at once, right? But it's channel forms. So that came up as far as Any updates on channel form support, especially around custom fields, making that an easier, better experience? Any thoughts on that down the road, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is kind of funny for me to answer because some of this is stuff Andy's been running with. But one of the things, there's kind of two phases to this in my mind. One is the docs, if you will. One of the things we've started working on, and I believe we already have all the member templates finished for this, but is basically rolling out alternate example types for sections of the docs where there's code. So right now, the new member tags we rolled out, for instance, they're all using vanilla HTML, if you will. I believe we have those all done for Tailwind as well. So when you go to those docs, you could select the Tailwind example and copy it if you're using a Tailwind site, that type of thing. But channel forms is one of the areas that we're also planning to go through and also create alternate examples and not just vanilla HTML, if you will. Those examples would have all the field types, is the hope. We might not get them all right off the bat. We might have to iterate through them, if you will. So that's kind of phase 1 of this question. Sorry, I started talking fast again. Phase 2 is really bringing channel forms to where we want it to be. And we're really not even into the planning phase of that yet. But it's on our radar knowing, hey, we need to do a significant scope on this. And we have some pretty good ideas on what that's going to look like and how it could be harnessed in more powerful ways. So,
yep, definitely. It's definitely, I remember Oliver's meetup talk on his channel forms and everything. And if you don't use them a lot, sometimes you don't realize how powerful of a feature that can be. So definitely an area that we'd like to improve and work on and grow in the product.
That would be a good video for people to watch too.
Yeah, definitely. If you haven't watched that yet. Good plug for our YouTube channel. So you can go to YouTube, search for Expression Engine, like and subscribe, hit the bell, right? Whatever they say. All right. Sorry. All right. Doug asked, what are the big focuses of E7? I think you've already mentioned, throughout, since Doug asked a question, we mentioned several items that are going to be released in 7 or we're hoping to get into 7. I think really though, some of the biggest features that we're excited about, we're kind of going to keep under wraps for right now, right, Tom?
Yep. Yeah, we'll keep them under wraps. Yep. We will do an event where we'll talk about it more in depth though. So yeah, absolutely.
So 7's definitely going to have some cool stuff in it, but for now, yeah, we're gonna keep some of that on the down low and make it exciting when it comes out. So last question from Slack was from Jimmy on any news on single sign-on. So that's come up several times at some recent meetups. It's kind of become a bigger request from clients for developers. Any thoughts on single sign-on, or if we have any plans to roll that into core? Those kind of questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So single sign-on, it's interesting. We've started doing these monthly partner calls as well, and we've seen this come up almost every monthly partner call. So single sign-on, we do have a pretty robust single sign-on solution that we have built. We did it for a client we worked with a long time ago, if you will, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. We've been a little bit hesitant to roll it out, and the main reason we've been hesitant to roll it out is because every time we've done single sign-on, it requires a lot of meetings with a lot of different entities often at an organization. So that's kind of something that we've been wondering about, and if we're going to roll that out ultimately. I mentioned that because if somebody's really looking for it, get in touch, feel free. All of this being said, though, there's also the Small Orange. They have a single sign-on add-on for Expression Engine, and it's our understanding they're actually just about to, or Mini Orange, sorry, Paul, thank you for the correction. I think a Small Orange is a hosting company, actually. So Mini Orange, and they actually reached out to us, and they are looking to push out several different editions of that add-on as a whole, and they're ultimately going to list it under the Expression Engine store. So, while, yes, we kind of have something over here on the side, if you will, there is a company who is stepping up and saying, hey, we have several different editions that we're looking to release for Expression Engine. So I think that's good to see.
Definitely. All right, I'll sneak this one in here. This really isn't a question on the future. Bree just asked, how does channel forms play with conditional fields?
It's a great question. Right now, you would really have to build that logic into the template. So to say, hey, is this conditionally hidden or displayed, and that type of thing. When I talk about that future kind of phase 2, what we want conditional fields, channel forms to be, that is one of those items that comes to mind. Like, hey, how do you make this, almost auto-magical, if you will, in some regards. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, I really enjoy this time to put my boss on the hot seat here and kind of ask him some questions. I hope you guys enjoy these chats, these talks. Hope you guys feel that, the transparency that we try to give as an ExpressionEngine team, make sure everyone understands what's happening, where the product is going, where the brand's going, because all that drives your businesses as well. And we know that. And so we want to set everybody up for success the best that we can. One other item that we didn't talk about that Tom may or may not know about. No, he knows about this because it's his birthday. Oh, so definitely reach out to Tom today and tell him happy birthday. And so I don't know if Tom's going to be able to join us the entire day, but he got on today for his birthday. But he's got his birthday plus some family stuff going on later today. And of course, community guys, work is awesome, but definitely keep your families at the forefront of your life. But Tom, happy birthday. Appreciate all you do for our team and for the community and for ExpressionEngine as a whole. So happy birthday, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right. And with that note, we'll go ahead and close out this session.